Walt Disney World Resort, located in the heart of Central Florida. It's known for classic attractions, beloved characters, and unique entertainment. But when you think of Disney, do you think speed, thrills, and chills? If not, then listen up, because we're about to show you the fastest, wettest, tallest, and what many believe are the most exciting attractions at Walt Disney World. You'll see the dark side of Disney and explore what many say is the most ambitious attraction Disney has ever created. So strap in and please keep your hands and feet inside the ride vehicle at all times, because we're taking you on an adventure into the ultimate Walt Disney World. Walt Disney World in Central Florida is a resort with over 20 themed hotels and attractions of all kinds. It's become the ultimate vacation destination for millions of visitors from all over the world. But it's at Disney's 4 theme parks: the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Disney's Hollywood Studios, Disney's Animal Kingdom, and 2 water parks, where you'll find out what ultimate really means. Back in the 60s, Walt Disney had expansion beyond California's Disneyland on his mind. And from the same mind that started the theme park phenomenon came the idea to go east, Central Florida to be exact. There, he took his innovative idea of Disneyland and recreated it on a much grander scale. The Magic Kingdom was constructed, and with it came some classic attractions like Pirates of the Caribbean, Peter Pan, and Dumbo. With its deep-rooted tradition of family fun, visitors, whether on their first or 101st Disney experience, have the same expectations for lifelong memories.
I came here about 30 years ago, and it's my first time back, and brought my son, and we're having a great time reliving a lot of old memories for me and creating some for him.
Over the years, Disney has applied cutting-edge technology to stay in front of the competition, creating the ultimate in themed attractions.
The Disney rides are branded to movies and the fun aspects of the Disney culture, but they were really lacking thrill rides. And as the baby boomers were getting a little bit older and having kids of their own, we wanted thrill rides. So the more we looked, the more we could find at Disney World, the more reasons of going.
So over time, Disney responded. And of these new thrills, some are classics. Some are scary. Some are wet, and some are wild. The Disney creators responsible for it all are known as Imagineers.
At Imagineering, our rides and attractions are really more than just a ride or a show. We try to put the guest in an immersive environment and really tell a very complete story. And to do that, we have to go to great lengths to bring a sense of realism to the places that we create.
Imagineering is always trying to design attractions to meet ever-changing audience expectations. We stimulate all of your senses.
So what makes an attraction thrilling?
That's a great question. We always want bigger, faster. We always want to push our limits.
I think an attraction is thrilling when my kids scream.
It can be psychological, physical. It can be a combination of the two.
A thrill ride is something which stimulates your senses, whether it be your physical senses or visually, and it makes you feel like you're getting away with something, but doing it in a safe way. You know deep down you're really safe, but you sure are excited in the meantime.
Our tour of the ultimate Walt Disney World begins with the best out-of-this-world thrill. It's Mission Space, located in Epcot's Future World.
It was intense.
I've never experienced anything like this ride before. I really felt like I was going to space.
Mission Space may be an experience unlike anything that has ever been done before.
Mission Space is an incredibly realistic rocket launch experience. Guests can come to our training facility and find out what it's like to train the way that real astronauts train.
Walt Disney World has had a long history of and affinity for space-themed attractions.
Walt Disney himself has had a history with the whole space program effort. There was a TV show in the 50s called Man in Space. At Disneyland, we've had Rocket to the Moon, we've had Mission to Mars. Here we have Mission Space.
Other classic Disney voyages that have become iconic rides include Space Mountain, the Astro Orbiter, and Star Tours. They're a result of Disney's mission to bring the most realistic ride experiences to their guests.
There's really nothing else out there that makes you feel so clearly like you're in a rocket.
From the moment you enter the International Space Training Center, the ISTC, you're transported 30 years into the future, becoming an astronaut in training, where you'll be briefed on how to man the X-2 spacecraft for an interplanetary journey to Mars. That's right, Disney sends you and your team of explorers to the Red Planet.
Each guest is assigned a specific role in the capsule. We have commander, navigator, pilot, and engineer, and each of them has specific tasks.
Those with the right stuff must perform these tasks in order to arrive at their final destination successfully and safely.
For example, the pilot is responsible for second stage rockets. When the pilot pushes that button, you can feel the rush of the rockets, you can hear the roar, and you really know that you initiated a system in the spacecraft.
Now that you have your orders, it's time to strap in and hold on tight for the ride of your life.
Come on, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Your training is put to the test in true Disney fashion when the mission doesn't go according to plan.
A great story has a plot that weaves you through it, and that plot isn't always something which is free of peril or danger.
This is going to be the first chance that most people have to actually see what Mars looks like. We use the real Mars data. We use the height data and real imagery photographs from the orbiters that are orbiting Mars right now and sending the images back to Earth. So all of that data was used in creating our 3D version of Mars. So when you start to plummet to the surface of Mars, you're seeing the Valles Marineris. You're seeing the volcanoes that really exist on the surface of Mars.
All of this is seen through the Virtual Infinity System, known as the VIS.
The VIS is the window that the guests look out of in the Mission Space attraction through a custom lens design accompanied with a computer and a monitor. We're able to create the sense of space and the sense of infinity beyond the window and out into space. The sense of infinity is not something that you get if you just look at a flat monitor.
Mission Space is really similar to actual astronaut training in that it uses technology that NASA uses to train astronauts. We use aerospace centrifuge technology and add a layer of Disney storytelling magic to really bring the guests into the experience of being an astronaut.
Mission Space is the result of 5 years of research and collaboration with NASA, as well as former and current astronauts.
Our story has to be based in science fact, and so if we had questions about Mars, we had questions about propulsion or metals, and they connected us with the appropriate scientist or engineer that we could talk to make sure that our story is based correctly.
Put it all together, and you've got one of the most technologically advanced attractions that Disney has ever created. Since the beginning, another aspect of Disney's trademark has been taking an old concept and turning it upside down. Or, in the case of our next thrill, sending it backwards. It's Expedition Everest, our vote for the best thrill in reverse. With a mythical creature lurking deep in a mountain that reaches nearly 200 feet in the sky of Disney's Animal Kingdom, Expedition Everest is yet another Disney roller coaster that raises the bar.
The attraction is sited between Asia and Dinoland. As guests approach the attraction, they come into the village of Circazong, where the entire story starts to unfold.
The legend of the mystical Yeti is revealed, and it cautions any trekker brave enough to travel into the mountain on the way to Everest Base Camp.
In traditional Tibetan oral traditions, the Yeti really is the guardian of these restricted, remote, natural parts of the mountains that are set aside forever, never to be touched or interfered with by any form of human agency. Well, the premise of Expedition Everest is that these entrepreneurs have decided to rebuild this old tea train and take it through the Forbidden Mountains to Mount Everest, so that instead of a 28-day trek staying at little tea shops, you just hop on our train and, 30 hours later, you'll be at base camp and bypass the whole thing. But to do it, we have to go through the Forbidden Mountains, which are guarded by the Yeti. So, of course, the train is intruding into this realm.
By the time there are signs of an ominous presence, it's too late.
You kind of see some claw prints everywhere, kind of giving you an idea of, hey, wait a minute, there's definitely something up here.
The train comes to a sudden halt before crashing through tracks that have been mysteriously mangled.
There's no place to go. Our route to the base camp has been destroyed, and we've got to get off the mountain fast. That's where the ride really switches from a very scenic ride to a very aggressive, very fun, very thrilling ride.
The ride vehicle suddenly switches direction, sending all aboard hurtling in reverse. The train's passengers plummet deeper into the caverns of the Forbidden Mountain at almost 50 miles per hour, until...
Going backwards is the best part of Expedition Everest, especially in the dark, because when you come to the tracks that are broken, you don't know what to anticipate, and then suddenly you're whirled backwards.
Imagineers always go the extra mile to outdo themselves when creating new attractions, and in the case of Expedition Everest, they traveled many miles.
Disney Imagineers traveled to Nepal and Southeast Asia to bring a level of realism to this attraction that's really unlike any other that we've done before. The finishes on the exterior of the buildings, they look like stacked stones or rammed earth blocks that are slurried with plaster.
Imagineers may have taken painstaking efforts to make the exterior of Expedition Everest look real, but the real challenge was bringing the audio animatronic Yeti to life.
We worked with world-renowned primatologists to really anticipate what a figure of this size would look like, how it would move.
We put a lot of work into making the Yeti very real. When you do see the Yeti, you're sweeping by and there's this huge creature and you pretty much have to pick a feature and focus in on it, right? So it might be the hand, it might be the face, it might be the teeth, it might be the feet, but it doesn't matter where you look because it's all completely realistic.
The ride itself is a first for Disney.
The story drove us to technical innovations in the ride track. We needed to innovate and create a track switch that would allow you to change tracks and go backwards. We had to reinvent a train to allow it to go backwards because the wheels weren't necessarily based on that premise.
From its roots in Disneyland, the first theme park created by Walt Disney, Walt Disney World Resort has focused on making memorable experiences for families to last a lifetime.
One of the reasons Walt Disney designed Disneyland in the first place was so that he would have a place that he could go with his daughters and ride things, experience things with them, rather than just sitting passively on a bench watching them have a good time.
One ingredient of the magical recipe of Disney's success is getting the child in all of us to come out and play. So it should come as no surprise that our next attraction is the ultimate family thrill, Toy Story Mania. It was inspired by Disney Pixar's Toy Story films and can be found at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Here, Toy Story characters invite friends and family to come and play together. This interactive, cutting-edge attraction combines the fun of a video game, 4D technology, and is an immersive ride through the world of Toy Story with some well-loved Disney Pixar characters.
The story of Toy Story Mania is that Andy got a new Midway Carnival game playset. And while Andy's off with his parents, the toys have taken the playset and brought it to life. And they've invited us to become a toy and play with them.
Everyone gets a front row seat when guests put their 3D glasses on and board the ride vehicle.
In Toy Story Mania, you are shrunk down to the size of a toy. And so you aim your cannon at the different targets in the game and you pull the string, and you will see out of your cannon the ammunition that's unique to each game you're playing. So in one game, you pull the string and darts come out. In the next game, ring tosses come out. So every game you play has different ammunition. Every time you pull the trigger, you can see your ammunition, so it helps you aim at the targets. So it's a real-time interactive game unlike anything we've ever done before.
Ready for even more fun? Well, then it's time to pick up the pace. Next on our list of ultimate attractions is Walt Disney World's fastest thrill, Test Track. Located at Epcot, this high-velocity ride can reach speeds of up to 65 miles per hour.
Awesome. It was high speed and exciting. It was exhilarating.
They don't call it Test Track for nothing. Here, visitors experience the same rigors cars do before being deemed roadworthy.
They're going to be immersed into the real world of a proving ground. And a proving ground is really core to how you design and how you build and how you test an automobile.
Theme park goers are welcomed to this thrill by a queue line that gives them an insider's look at pounding impact tests that are routinely done on various car components and vehicle systems. Once you're buckled up, it's time to burn rubber. Ever wonder what it feels like to be strapped inside a car during a suspension test? Or what it feels like when your brakes aren't working? And what it should feel like when they do? This attraction even exposes passengers to desert-like heat and an Arctic freeze. Your ride vehicle shifts gears for some extreme turns during the road handling exercises. But this is all a warm-up for what Disney claims is the fastest Walt Disney World thrill. The 65 mile per hour figure 8 glory lap. 65 miles per hour may not sound that fast, but try it while banking at 50 degrees over a 320-foot circular track.
Short of anyone that drives a NASCAR at Daytona, most people will not be able to experience a high-speed bank turn. And on Test Track, you make that last final blast at 65 miles an hour. That's pretty thrilling.
Oh, as a pilot, that last turn was very much like an airplane ride, so it was real exciting.
I think that people have an innate thrill and desire to experience G-forces. And whenever people experience that or are subjected to that, somehow the trigger response is that they laugh or they scream. And they're normally screams of joy, not of fear.
Decades of ride evolution have made Walt Disney World Resort the ultimate location for the ultimate in thrills. From the traditional to the state-of-the-art, we're taking you to the dark side of Disney. Disney's dark rides, that is.
Well, dark ride actually predates Disney. In the original carnivals and fairs, you never really were told a story.
Walt Disney came along, that he just changed that idea forever. He brought his, filmmakers over from the studio to help him design and develop these attractions, and he actually literally made dimensional stories out of these dark rides. And you can actually go into a scene from a film or from a book or from a TV show on these dark rides.
The term dark ride comes from before us and refers to these dark rides. It's we who transformed that meaning into this tight storytelling ride in which you're going to sit in a vehicle and move through this darkened space and have your attention pointed at these very, very crisply portrayed scenes, one after another, and ride your way through a little story.
Our next adventure takes you to Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom for a ride that's not the fastest or the tallest or even the most adrenaline-infused. But it is perhaps the best loved. It's Space Mountain, and it's our pick for the best classic thrill.
I think we like to consider Space Mountain a Disney classic. People return over and over again to ride this attraction because it's one of their favorites.
The idea for Space Mountain originated in the early 60s as a result of Walt Disney's fascination with the exciting, imaginative birth of the space age.
Where miracles a few short years ago are accepted as commonplace today. In this Tomorrowland series, we are combining the tools of our trade with the knowledge of the scientists to give a factual picture of the latest plans for man's newest adventure.
Known for being the first ever indoor, dark roller coaster, this world-renowned space race has been thrilling visitors for decades without losing a beat.
When I was a kid, when I came out, it was just about the same way. It was dark, the twisted turns. It was his first time, and it was just nice to share it with him. It really was.
Because of this attraction's nostalgia factor and broad popularity, there's a unique Space Mountain experience at every Disney-themed resort around the world.
Disney has a Space Mountain in every Magic Kingdom Disneyland park around the world. It really is something that people expect when they go to the park. You say Space Mountain to anybody and they know what it is.
Once you board the space train, anticipation rises as blastoff draws near.
By itself, the coaster itself may not be this super thrilling ride. If you were to take it outside and turn on the lights, you may say, wow, that's thrilling. But what Disney excels at is they don't just turn off the lights, but they add sights and sounds.
Space Mountain is very popular with our guests because it's dark, fast, and unpredictable. You get on that thing, you launch into space, and you don't know where you're going. You don't know where the next turn is going to come. On Space Mountain, you don't have a clue, and that's what really gives it the thrill and the excitement, not to mention all the special effects and the sounds and the sights and, launching into space.
Get ready to explore the final frontier in classic Disney fashion. Your spacecraft winds its way through the dark from a height of 90 feet. There are also two completely separate tracks that give passengers two unique ride experiences.
Space Mountain is awesome. It's indoors. You don't know what's going to happen. It's dark. It's thrilling. It's so much fun.
You may think you're traveling at warp speed, but you'll never believe how fast this space voyage really goes.
The sensation of speed in Space Mountain is enhanced by the fact that special effects and all kinds of things are happening to you while you're inside a controlled environment. This makes it much more thrilling than just a roller coaster on the outside.
I think I was going, I don't know, maybe about like 30, 40 miles an hour.
The speed at which space travelers travel through Space Mountain is much slower than they may think.
I thought I was
going about 50 or 40 miles per hour.
Space Mountain may make you feel like you've rocketed into space, but this next thrill just might rock your world. Disney's Hollywood Studios is where you'll find a white-knuckled coaster with a well-known soundtrack. Rock and Roller Coaster, starring Aerosmith, is our pick for the best adrenaline rush.
The launch was definitely intense. It definitely pushed you back into your seat.
The idea behind Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith was to create a thrilling attraction that was synchronized to music. In many ways, Space Mountain was really the genesis for this idea. A lot of the early Imagineers to this project rode that attraction with headphones on and listening to rock and roll music while they went through that ride experience, dreaming of the day that that technology could come together.
Disney sets the scene at a fictional record company called G-Force Records, where you've been invited to join a few rock and roll icons during a recording session. And when the rockers realize they're late for a gig, you're invited to come along in style.
To get to the rock concert, Aerosmith orders up the biggest, longest stretch limousine available in Hollywood, and it's delivered to us in the form of the vehicle that we're going to get to the concert in.
Even though the band knows how to treat their fans right, there isn't much time to spare, and traffic in Los Angeles can get crazy. Once your super stretch limo has arrived, buckle up and get ready for a 0 to 60 launch in 2.8 seconds, catapulting you straight into the first of 2 inversions and 1 corkscrew. The race is on through the Hollywood Hills. Time flies when you're having fun, and nothing's more exciting than flying across town to make it to an Aerosmith concert, especially when you arrive just in time for the band to take the stage. Rock and Roller Coaster unveiled some firsts for Walt Disney World.
It was the first launching coaster, first roller coaster that was timed synchronously to music, and it was the first roller coaster that had inversions.
The initial takeoff is so powerful, it's all that's needed to sustain velocity throughout the entire ride.
Guests can expect an amazing adrenaline rush from the launch sequence. It's 0 to 60, pin your head back in the chair type of experience.
Classic rock songs and an adrenaline-charged launch seems to keep people coming back for more.
Thrill seekers and just Disney show lovers come to Rock and Roller Coaster again to experience the thrills and see the visuals and live the story over and over again.
It's like an adrenaline rush again and again and again.
I would say it's a great adrenaline rush, especially right from the beginning.
Space Mountain was my favorite, actually, until now. Until I just got off this one. Rock and Roller Coaster is now my favorite.
As Space Mountain ushered in the supersonic era of Rock and Roller Coaster, the development of dark rides evolved into new Disney adventures. Our next ultimate Walt Disney World thrill shows how modern, high-tech tampering with an extinct species can get extremely wild. At Disney's Animal Kingdom, you'll find Walt Disney World's best thrill in the dark, Dinosaur. But is this sensory overload thrill truly a traditional Disney dark ride?
When we looked at the evolution of what a dark ride is, we thought, okay, what's the next generation?
I think is the next level. It's the next step. The sound experience, I think, is the best I've ever had.
I'd expect the unexpected because you never know what's around the corner.
Like all Disney attractions, the journey begins with a story. And this story takes place at the Dino Institute, where you've just been volunteered to take on a perilous assignment.
We, the guests, are being enlisted to go back in time to save an iguanodon from extinction, the extinction that's brought about by the meteor shower at the end of the Age of Dinosaurs. We're caught in the meteor shower, and then we're pursued through the darkness of this meteor storm by Carnotaurus.
Your only hope for survival, the Time Rover. a vehicle built to outrun fierce dinosaurs and beat the clock in a race against time. This prehistoric forest is alive and hungry. You soon find out that the iguanodon isn't the only one who needs rescuing, because in this time period, you're no longer at the top of the food chain. A terrorizing meteor shower rains havoc down all around you, while a planet-killing asteroid is on a collision course with Earth. We never said this is going to be easy. Do our time travelers find the iguanodon and arrive back to the future in time? Let's just say survival of the fittest is a rule to live by.
Dinosaur was designed specifically to be a very dark environment.
Being in the dark definitely amplified my feelings and my senses. It makes you wonder what's going to happen next.
To make life-size dinosaurs, Disney had to create the largest audio animatronics they had ever constructed. Imagineers have come a long way since some of their first audio animatronics, but some things remain the same.
Our character animators animate the dinosaurs using many of the same tools that they would use to animate a pirate or a president or a tiki bird.
Disney does something called preventative maintenance in an effort to keep this primeval thrill on the attack.
The sheer weight and size of a dinosaur and the fact that we expect it to move quickly makes it require a tremendous amount of maintenance.
In order to keep in shape, these dinos must go through a series of exercises.
Based on its animation program, each dinosaur has a specific calisthenics program that it's given. This allows maintenance to see if there are any problems with a particular movement or function on the dinosaur and repair it right away.
The dinosaurs themselves are the first thing that makes Dinosaur an ultimate attraction. They are far and away the best dinosaurs out there to be seen. They're fabulously sculpted, and they move fast, and they move big. They are great. And then on top of that, you have the ride system itself, which is a dynamic, fast-moving, fast-acting ride system. And the combination of those two things, I think, puts it in a category that's hard to match.
The attention to detail at Dinosaur is so intricate, many consider the ride to be a sensory overload experience.
Sensory overload means we're doing a whole lot of things to you at the same time. We're impacting all of your senses. There's so many things happening to you that you can't possibly take it all in at the same time.
Our search for the ultimate Walt Disney World attractions brings us to some that are sure to keep guests cool on those hot Florida summer days. In Frontierland at the Magic Kingdom, you'll find Splash Mountain, which gets our nod as the ride with the most thrilling finish.
I rode this ride and I screamed and yelled so much I've lost my voice, but it's the best ride here at Disney World.
Anticipation begins from the moment guests first enter Frontierland as they glimpse the 50-foot plunge.
When people walk into Frontierland, across the rivers of America sits Splash Mountain. The thing that really comes and grabs people's attention is every 12 seconds, a log full of 8 passengers comes down the face of that mountain and they're screaming. So we know you get on the boat anticipating that, and we know you're actually looking forward to that in sort of a dreadful way. We build the anticipation with the story then.
Once on board the log, it's Disney storytelling at its best.
Back when we were looking at Splash Mountain for what kind of story were we going to tell, we put our hearts into a film called Song of the South that had some beautiful animation and incredible music. I mean, Zippity Doo-Dah is almost our national anthem here at Disney. Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear were fantastic characters, and we had a supporting cast. So putting that all together, we were able to create a very fun and whimsical story as the backbone of a very thrilling flume ride.
Against the advice of Mr. Bluebird, Brer Rabbit leaves the Briar Patch on a quest for adventure. Poor Rabbit never has a chance with Brer Fox and Brer Bear on his tail, sneaking and plotting to catch him. Just find your laughing place rabbit.
You just don't know when that drop's coming. And that drop could be around the next corner. And they tease that over and over, but all the while telling a great story. And they get you so deep into the story that you see this light and you realize, here's that drop and it fits perfectly into the story. It's really this prolonged sense of excitement. And they cap it off at the end with a pretty great thrill.
This 5-story plunge is a 40-mile-per-hour nosedive, making it the fastest drop in the Magic Kingdom.
The drop is thrilling because it builds up anticipation. Your stomach starts to go in knots. You think you're going to fall out, but you won't. And you go down and you see everything in front of you. It's really scary, but also fun.
But what sets Splash Mountain apart, making it such an original log ride?
It's just one of those attractions that has what we call the Disney difference. You can go on a lot of log flume rides at other places, but you don't get the whole immersion into a storyline full of characters, full of song, full of dance.
Oh, you're nervous, you're excited, but then when it's all over, you just want to ride it again and again.
If you think the drop at Splash Mountain was fast, think again. Try a 55-mile-per-hour vertical plunge. This isn't your traditional Disney attraction. Here you're on your own. No seatbelts, no ride vehicle, nowhere to go but down. 120 feet straight down. It's at Blizzard Beach, where you'll find some of the most extreme water rides in the world. But the ultimate is the plummet, Summit Plummet to be exact. From the top of Mount Gushmore, this is the most terrifying plunge at Walt Disney World, and our choice as the coolest thrill.
Blizzard Beach was one of the craziest ideas I think we've ever come up with. We came up with this idea of what if a freak snowstorm had hit this mountain area in central Florida and this crazy gator decided to go out and make $1 million setting up a ski resort, only to find that this freak snowstorm was truly a freak snowstorm and it all started to melt.
With super slick water rides like Toboggan Racers and the Slush Gusher, you'd think you've reached the pinnacle of wet excitement. But they're nothing compared to what awaits high up on the precipice of Summit Plummet.
The mountain is 90 feet tall. We needed to rise above it. So at 120 feet, you're expected to crawl up there in your bathing suit, lie down, cross your arms, cross your legs, cross your ankles, and go down, plunge down the face of this mountain. And people do it, and it's got to take a lot of nerve.
Skiers have to hike to the highest point of Mount Gushmore, where nerves of steel are required to take the plunge at one of the nation's tallest and fastest water slides.
The higher you get as you're going up the stairs, the anticipation builds up because you don't know what to expect and you really can't see how high up you're going. So as soon as you turn a corner, there's some more stairs and it's like, oh my gosh, how high is this thing gonna get?
You look around and you see the Epcot icon. You see basically all of Disney World before you.
You're laying there and you know it's going to be fast, and they say good luck. And that's what makes it scary, because of the unforeseen. You can't see where you're going to land.
You may think twice, even 3 times, before launching yourself down this vertical challenge.
It was thrilling because when you first go over the dip, you can't see anything. And you got water splashing in your eyes. It's really hard to see. And before you know it, you're at the bottom.
At 0 to 55 miles per hour in less than a second, you'll find yourself at the bottom before you know it.
Going down Summit Plummet is so much fun, watching everybody go down and then just peering over right before you go down. It's so scary, but then once you get to the bottom, it's all worth it. It's just a big adrenaline rush.
It was awesome. It makes me want to go up there again and just start right back all over again. It was a blast.
At Disney, even a water slide is more than meets the eye.
We had this idea to add a special effect that when a rider goes down Summit Plummet, they will cross a beam that will send off a burst of water off the end of the ski jump. So from the ground, if you didn't know better, it looked like a rider is going off the ski jump.
Thrill seekers who like to get wet and wild will love the whitewater action found at our next ultimate Walt Disney World attraction. Located at Disney's Animal Kingdom, it's Kali River Rapids, our vote for Walt Disney World's wettest thrill.
We love to get wet. We got soaked and we love it.
You never really know what's coming next, and you're always spinning and going around curves.
Don't even worry about wearing your ponchos, because as you can see, you'll get soaked anyway.
Located in the heart of the Asian rainforest, Kali River Rapids is a fast-paced whitewater adventure. You'll really feel like you're in Asia when walking through this queue line filled with Asian antiques.
Our queue lines are always a part of our story, and they set up the mood that we want you to participate in. And it presents you also with a setting that you can believe in that is somewhere in India, somewhere in the foothills of the Himalayas.
It's time to join these explorers as they embark upon turbulent waters. Once you start your journey, one thing's for sure, you will get wet.
You can get very, very wet on Kali River Rapids. You can get completely soaked. There's a question of who's going to get it next and where is it going to come from.
The rafts offer little protection against the shower of water that rains upon you every twist, turn, and spin.
It's a little bit of a Russian roulette kind of thing as the ride rotates and moves through the river. It's a big mystery who is going to be the victim of the next big splash.
It's a bad omen of things to come when this waterlogged adventure heats up.
We discover that a section of the rainforest is being cut down by an illegal logging company, and we're caught in the flood created by this damage and now have to escape from the river, which is out of control, and find our way back to civilization.
With the forest ablaze and an overturned tanker truck blocking your escape route, it's about to get a little wet. And by a little, we mean a lot.
The rapids form a drop of something like 40 feet. And at the bottom of that drop, you are pushing a mountain of water in front of you, which then comes down on top of the raft, and somebody has to get very, very wet.
I like the drop because we got really, really wet at the end. This has been the wettest Walt Disney ride I've ever been on.
We're nearing the end of our ultimate Walt Disney World tour. Unfortunately, there are so many great adventures that we just didn't have the time to show you. But it's safe to say that none of them will make you shriek like our next attraction. It's the best scream your head off thrill. It's dark, it's creepy, and it might make you scream. Again and again and again.
I screamed like a little girl, I sure did, and I ain't ashamed to say that. And I challenge anybody that ride this ride to tell me that they don't scream, because you will scream.
It really drops your stomach. You can feel yourself fall out of your seat going up into the air. His hat actually fell off when he did it up.
It's called the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and it's located at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
From the moment guests walk down Sunset Boulevard, they see Tower of Terror looming in the distance. And that's when we begin our storytelling. There's this gigantic scar on the side of the building. It begins to set up the anticipation for the thrill. And then, of course, when the doors open on the outside and you see guests screaming and enjoying the ride experience, that takes it even further.
Once visitors enter the eerie Hollywood Tower Hotel, it becomes obvious that something isn't quite right.
The Tower of Terror in Florida is an old hotel that's been abandoned since 1939 when something went horribly wrong. There were some guests that disappeared. Part of the hotel went into the Twilight Zone. You suddenly find yourself a
unwilling participant in the Twilight Zone.
As guests enter the lobby, you'll see a newspaper that's folded over the edge of a couch, and you'll see a glass of tea that's half empty. The attention to detail in there is very critical to setting up the story that this event has taken place, dramatically affected not only the architecture of the hotel, but all the guests, because there's nobody there.
This hotel's creepy staff has their own idea on how to provide customer service.
Welcome, weary travelers, to the Hollywood Tower Hotel. In just a few moments, begin boarding the service elevator that will
A
take you to your
bellhop
room.
that seems a bit too eager to get you into the elevator greets you as you pass a lift motor that has seen better days.
Here we are, right inside, sir.
You've been warned, and if you've made it this far, there's no turning back.
I do hope you enjoy your stay with us. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Too late.
First up, meet the hotel's ghostly guests. We want you to join them as permanent residents. Next stop, the fifth dimension. Here, your elevator does something that will probably surprise you. It actually breaks free from the shaft and moves into the hotel's haunted corridors. Suddenly, it becomes pitch black before this 13-story drop can make people scream even if they don't scare easy. These unique ride vehicles were a breakthrough in ride design because the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror offers its guests a completely different ride experience each time they work up the courage for another trip into the Twilight Zone.
Check out every ride this way.
Once you get to the actual drop sequence, the real exciting thing about Tower of Terror is that the computer randomly selects whether you're going to drop 3 times, or whether you can drop 4 times. If you're going to drop 50 feet the first time, 20 feet the first time, sometimes you even shoot straight up. And so it provides a random experience which only adds an extra layer of excitement to the rider.
And then you go on it again and it's something completely different and you have no idea what you're doing.
If the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is so frightening, why do guests continue to come back?
I think the reason guests love to come back to Tower of Terror again is it's storytelling. Whether you're walking through the lobby or whether you're dropping at 2,700 feet per minute, you pick up all these things that you never saw before, and it just adds to the experience. It is a scream your head off thrill ride.
Tower of Terror was definitely an adrenaline rush. It was a great ride, and I would totally go on it again.
All you can do is just hold on, and I was just screaming. I know I could feel it right in my hands.
Tower of Terror is one of the most amazing attractions in the world. Not just the Disney World, the entire world. It's fun beyond belief. It's something you want to get right back in and right at the end.
So the next time you decide against taking the stairs, beware. You just might fall into the Twilight Zone. For the past 3 decades, Walt Disney World Resort has produced attractions that are synonymous with family fun. But as we've discovered, the mouse also wants to satisfy the adrenaline junkies' need for a fix. How will Walt Disney World anticipate and satisfy future generations craving for the ultimate in thrills?
I want to ride something that's unique and different, and it's got to be better than what I did last time.
I think a Disney thrill ride in 10 to 20 years will always have the story. I don't think you're ever going to see Disney go pure extreme thrill ride. That's for someone else to do.
The first limitation you have is your imagination. After that, the limitations are what is physically possible to build. It's surprising sometimes the things that you think are impossible that turn out to be doable.
and what you thought made them impossible was really an opinion, not a fact.
Virtual reality that is so immersive and so real that your suspension of disbelief is more extreme than it ever has been before.
Walt Disney wanted to ensure that his Walt Disney World would continue to grow and expand. And after 35 years, the thrill factor on Disney's attractions has seen a quantum leap forward.
We know what our goals are. We know what we hope to accomplish.
And the next 35 years is sure to deliver even more exciting thrills, so that there will always be an ultimate Walt Disney World. To get started planning your Disney Parks vacation, just click on disneyparks.com/fun.